Thanks, Marina. Finally, no party is complete without guests. But we mustn't forget there's a sort of etiquette involved when inviting them to the festivities. For one, don't invite people out of necessity or obligation. You really only want to invite people that are close to your lives. For instance, just because your Aunt Rita says you need to invite your cousin who lives 3 states away, who you hardly ever talk to, doesn't mean you need to. This is your party. Take control of the guest list. You know them better than anyone else. You want to make sure that they're able to socialize and be comfortable with each other. Another thing that you want to make sure is you're not overpopulating your guest list when you have a small venue. You don't want people elbow to elbow fighting for space. No one's going to have fun in that situation. Make sure there's enough room for them to roam around and feel comfortable and relax and socialize. And that's really how people have fun at a party. So your guest list size needs to be equivalent to your venue size. But before your guests even show up, you need to send out invitations. And your invitations are going to set the mood for the entire event. So make sure they reflect the themes that you want to send out accordingly. If you want to have a formal Thanksgiving event, make sure your invitations reflect that. Use traditional serif fonts like Rockwell, Georgia, and Times New Roman. You also want to use pale colors like white, ivory, and possibly pastels for your invitations. Some people want to use black base with white fonts, which is okay, but be careful about that. It can come across as a little morbid, so make sure that you're cognitive of your audience. And on the other hand, if you want a fun, casual theme for your Thanksgiving event, have your invitations reflect that. Use sans serif fonts like Curls MZ, Kristen ITC, and Papyrus. And use bright colors and even rainbow effects on your invitations. Really have fun with them. But don't overcrowd your invitations. You really want to keep the information on them to a bare minimum. You want to include who is invited, especially if there are certain people in a household that you would like to attend and not others. And to make sure your guests attend, you want to make sure that you're including when and where the event is. Otherwise, they're not going to know what to do and where to come. And sometimes you may even want to include what the event is for, but keep it short to a minimum sentence at the most. And make sure you include your RSVP, who to contact, and their contact information. That way, as a host, you can have an accurate guest count. But as we know, there's always party crashers. Your brother may decide that they want to bring a girlfriend at the last minute, or even some guests that have RSVP'd no suddenly decide that they can attend. It's okay. Don't panic, because you're going to be well prepared for that. Make sure you have some extra space at the dinner table, and also prep some extra food, not just for those second and third helpings Uncle George is going to want, but also for those extra guests that may or may not show up. After all, we all like leftovers anyway. So although planning guests is stressful, if you follow these simple steps, I promise you, your guests are going to walk away feeling appreciated and wowed.